Hi, it's Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. The title of this interview is called A Frank Talk About Money, what financial expert Robert Kiyosaki and his Buddhist nun sister taught each other about life. Not so long ago, people were taught to find good jobs and work hard so that someday they may enjoy a nice pension. But according to Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a dinosaur, industrial age idea. And many people who are currently looking to others for money, whether it's the government, their pension plans, or even God, are getting a cruel wake-up call in today's economy. Tenzin, Robert's sister, is one of those people. As a Buddhist nun, she was only concerned with the simple life until she got cancer and heart disease. Faced with medical bills that her insurance wouldn't cover, she turned to her brother for help. They ended up learning valuable life lessons from each other that not only combined purpose with practicality, but also kindness with prosperity. And in this audio, you'll hear all about them. You'll also hear what Robert thinks of America's current economic condition, where he thinks we went wrong, and what he thinks we can do to fix it. You'll learn why it's dangerous to have a polarized right or wrong mentality and how to develop a broader viewpoint. You'll learn how Tenzin and Robert ended up completely different life paths, how they found their purpose, and exactly what they learned from each other. You'll learn all about the man Robert considers his mentor, Bucky Fuller, and what he learned that changed his life. You'll learn sound advice for those of us struggling in today's economy, and the crucial thing Robert says we need to learn. According to Robert and his sister, we are living in historical times, but it's important not to let yourself get paralyzed or depressed by your circumstances. Instead, look for the opportunities and awakenings, and in this audio, you'll learn how to do that.
Hi, this is Chris Costello, and I've teamed up with Michael Senoff to bring you the world's best wellness-related interviews.
Thanks so much, Robert and Tenzin, for joining us today. Now, Robert, I'm interested in what you have to say about the current economic conditions in this country and what your take on that is.
Well, I think it's a tragedy that we've mismanaged our economy so horribly. It is my favorite subject, and the problem is, in my opinion, the relationship between the Federal Reserve Bank and the U.S. Treasury and their ability to create money out of thin air. And that's going to bring down this great country because they put us so greatly into debt. It's basically highway robbery, and I think it's a tragedy. The moment they turned the U.S. dollar from, in 1971, when Nixon took us off the gold standard, it was the end of America as we know it. 1971 caused the biggest economic boom. But now it's going to be the biggest economic bust ever. I think it's absolutely a tragedy. I think it's a tragedy our schools don't teach kids about money. I think it's a tragedy that it has to come to an emergency before we evolve. Auto workers in Detroit, they just can't keep asking for more money and more benefits, but neither can the government workers keep asking for more money and more benefits without producing more, because capitalism is about producing a better product at a better price. So as individuals, we have to keep producing better products at a better price also, or we're obsolete. So I just think that's one of the biggest tragedies of our time right now. This government's going to, last 50 years, is going to wipe out many, many people. Terrible. That's when I made my change with Dr. Fuller back in 1985, is I'm going to start teaching what my rich dad taught me about money. Sometimes your own family won't listen to you. And I'm glad my sister started to listen to me about money and the importance of it. Because being raised in a Christian family, it was the love of money is the root of all evil and yada, yada, yada. So I kind of had to be a closet capitalist in my house, learn how to make money in spite of what my parents thought. It was extremely challenging because my mom and dad were with the Peace Corps and I go with the Marine Corps, but they were also socialists and my rich dad was a capitalist. That's why I put in the front of the book is you get to have 2 points of view and see both points of view. I can see being kind to people, but I don't think giving them money solves the problem. I think it makes the problem worse, and it prolongs the ultimate inevitable end anyway.
I wanted to ask you back to the economy, too. Do you see a way out of this? I hear things like we're trillions of dollars in debt. Do you see any ray of hope?
I don't see it as good or bad, you see, because with this bad economy, I'm making more money than ever before because I've trained my mind to do that. Going back again to the quote, you have to have 2 points of view. So I have 2 different strategies. In a bad economy, I'm playing the markets one way, and good economy, I play another way. So I'm always making money, but that's what I was trained to do. So I don't really see it as bad. Unfortunately, it's going to wipe people who are not prepared out. I hate to say this, but we might be cruising for another depression, and that's frightening. I think that it is a tragedy. And we can't just print money to get out of this problem. It doesn't solve the problem. Throughout history, every government that's printed money, the money has eventually gone to its ultimate value, which is zero. Remember, the Confederate dollar went to zero, the Continental went to zero. And that's what happens when you have a bank that's allowed to print as much money as it wants to. Hope is for the hopeless. I like to take action and get smart, and I don't trust my politicians. They're not bad people. I believe in taking care of myself and teaching other people who want to learn, but I don't believe in just printing money and giving money. I'm willing to teach those who are willing to learn.
In the front of your book, there's a remarkable quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald. "The test of first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold 2 opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function." So, Robert, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what that quote means to you.
I thought it was a great quote because so many people operate in a world of right and wrong, and so they become polarized, like, you're conservative or you're a liberal, and if you're one or the other, you can't be both. And I just think that this idea of right and wrong is kind of a damaging idea. One of my teachers, Bucky Fuller, says we were given a right foot and a left foot, not a right foot and a wrong foot. And so the point is that there's always 2 points of view out there, and we need to increase our ability to, should we say, allow another point of view. Then we have a better chance for peace.
Tenzin, what is your interpretation of that quote?
I think that it's a quote really helping us to expand and broaden our view and our attitudes at life, because we live in a global community now, and we can't really remain isolated. Even in some of the smaller towns, there are people from other countries living with us now. And I believe that when we hold a very narrow view about our attitudes of politics or culture or religion, then we cut out the opportunity to really engage with other point of views.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.